As you develop your building model and add more detail, you'll probably want to start adding information about the context that the building will be located in. So a great first step is to create a topo surface illustrating the landform that the building will be sitting upon. To create a topo surface of the land features, you have a couple of different options. We can place individual elevation points and create the topo surface from those elevations. You can also import a 3D surface that was created in another application. And finally, you can import a points file of surveying data. Before you create the topo surface, it's important to make sure that the topography elements are visible in the view that you're looking at. If you switch to the site plan view from the architectural template, you'll actually see that the topography is turned on in that view. But in most other plan views, the topography isn't turned on, so you'll need to turn on the visibility of the topography elements in order to see the topography as you create it. To do that, after switching to a plan view, open the Visibility Graphics tool. You'll find it under the View tab in the Graphics section, the Visibility Graphics tool. And it has a shortcut that makes it very easy to open. You can type VG on the keyboard and it'll open this dialog quickly. Turn on the visibility checkbox for the topography category, and then when we close the checkbox, topography will show up in that view. Now we're ready to start placing points in the drawing area, if that's the method we want to use. To do that, open the Topo Surface tool. You'll find it under the Massing and Site tab in the Model Site section. Choose the Topo Surface tool, and then within that tool, you'll see you have options for how you want to create the topo surface. We're going to choose the Place Point Creation tool, which is under the Modify Edit Surface tab. In the Tools section, you'll find the Place Point tool there, as illustrated in the diagram on the right. Next, we'll place the elevation points, and as we're placing each point, we'll start by setting the elevation for each point in the options bar before we place it. Then, we'll click a location in the drawing area to place the point at that location. Now, as you're placing points, you may find that you need to adjust the cut plane height in the view in order to be able to see your points and the topo surface that's being created. The topo surface will appear in the drawing area if at least 3 points have been placed. We need at least 3 points to create a surface. And the elevation of at least one of those points is below the cut plane for the view. So the surface actually has to intersect and go below the cut plane in order to be visible. If you cannot see the points or the topo surface in a plan view, confirm that the topography is turned on in the Visibility Graphics dialog. And also confirm that the cut plane for the view is set to an offset above some of the points. So in the illustration, you'll see the View Range dialog and the cut plane line. Currently, you'll see that set to 4 feet above level 1. You may need to adjust that either higher or lower so that the cutting plane does indeed intersect the topo surface. Once you've created a topo surface, you may need to edit it to change the elevation or location of some of the dividing points. To do that, first select a topo surface to be edited. Then open the Edit Surface tool. You'll find it in the Modify Topography tab in the Surface section, and then you'll find the Edit Surface tool. Start by selecting an existing point to change its elevation in the options bar. After selecting the point, just enter the new elevation in the options bar. You could also move an existing point to a new location, or even add new points to the surface as desired to fine-tune the contours of the topo surface. You might also want to change the topo surface from the default material assigned to all the surfaces to a specific material just for this surface. To do that, select a topo surface that's already been created, then choose a material in the Properties palette. The default material setting is by category, so all topo surfaces will have the same material defined for all the different topo surfaces. But if you click in the cell of the material line and click the ... button, to the right side of the cell, you'll open the Materials browser, where you can choose a new material to use or define a new material that you would like to create to place upon the topo surface. After creating the topo surface, you may also find that you'd like to customize the topo surface's appearance and change density of the contour lines that appear in your views. Open the Site Settings dialog. You'll find it under the Massing and Site tab in the Model Sites section, and then hidden away in the lower right-hand corner, you'll actually find a downward pointing arrow which opens a menu that opens the Site Settings dialog. With that Site Settings dialog open, you can set the contour lines. You see at the top of the dialog is the interval for the primary contour lines. In this case, it's set to put a primary contour line at every 10 feet. And then you could also set an additional interview for secondary contour lines. For those secondary contour lines, you can sort of set the increment of how often you'd like them appear, as well as setting the line style. Another feature available in this dialog is the ability to set the cut material that appears when sections are cut through the topo surface. You can set that material to be a different hatch pattern, or even adjust the elevation of how far that hatch pattern appears, relative to the levels. The site settings that you make here apply to the appearance of the topo surface in all the views, so they're not view specific, they apply to your entire project.